What's up, guys? So, I'm going to touch on a little bit of a sensitive subject just for, I don't know, like 2 minutes. Because I don't want to spend a ton of time on it. Because I feel like it's already getting a lot of attention. This thing with Syria. It sucks, right? They used a chemical substance to poison their own people. Because it made news so, vibrantly, the U.S. decided to apparently step in to do something about it. So we attacked their research departments and a couple of their chemical developing centers. We did this with real swift motion without really informing or discussing the fallout of doing so, and that's the reason why there's so much heat around it right now. We apparently upset Russia, which that's not fun. Ultimately, this is where I sit. Is what they did right? No. I don't ever want to see women and children dying because of the stupidity of a country. I don't want to see chemical warfare, especially for a couple reasons. One, it's a very cowardly way to, handle things. Two, it's a certain step in the world of warfare that kills innocents. You're not just talking about soldiers dying. When you talk about chemical warfare, you talk about full-on eradication of an area. Am I for the fact that we bomb them? No. Personally, I feel like we should have kept out of it. Not because of the fact that I'm scared of a war or whatever. Like a lot of people that are upset with or have problems with the bombings has to say. I'm not upset about war. I don't fear for war, or I don't feel like there's going to be mass chaos. However, I do feel like we're sticking our nose in things we don't belong in. I feel like we have segregated the people from the government so far to where the government is making decisions unilaterally without its people's backing. I feel like Trump is trigger, happy. And if you're a Trump supporter, I don't mean to offend you by saying that. I actually don't think Trump is doing a whole lot of damage to our country, like a lot of people who don't follow Trump thinks. But I do believe that Trump is making some very crucial errors since he's been in office and has continued to do so for whatever reasons. I don't know, man. I tried to speak about peace. And the reason why is because I feel like if our countries were to work together, we could come to a place of peace. But it's going to take everybody wanting that for that to happen. It's going to take everyone to get into that place, to get to that part of heart. Sorry about that. A very interesting situation with multiple vehicles on this highway right now. I don't know. But I really do feel like that is ultimately the key to try to get things under control, is just overall peace. We spend a lot of time pointing fingers at each other and not enough time trying to help one another. And I feel that same way about our nations. Our nations spend too much time in stupid bickering matches over dumb policies and ethics, and not spending enough time bettering each other. Just my point, my own view. I know I'm not really exciting right now, and I'm sorry, but we're talking about politics, and nothing about politics to me is exciting. It's a whole bunch of people trying to figure out what they can get out of everyone else, and trying to get the best out of everything for it. Not necessarily my MO, right? But it's happening, and it's news, and people are talking about it, so I just kind of wanted to put that out there. Do I think we should cower? No. But I don't necessarily think we need to be sticking our nose in other countries' business when that country is not affecting us, when that country's actions are not causing harm to our country. I feel like Syria's people need to deal with Syria's mess. The regime over there that is doing this dictating, that's using these chemicals, the people need to uprise against it and overcome it. I mean, we as the U.S. did the same thing when we declared our freedom. I feel like worst case scenario, that's just the way it needs to be. The people need to do what they need to do for their own country. We should not be stepping in and making unilateral decisions in another country's mess, because we wouldn't tolerate that if people did that to us. That's honestly more time than I wanted to spend on it, so I'm going to cut that off and wish you guys a happy day. I hope you guys have an awesome day. I hope you guys go kill it. I got a workout later. Tonight's lifting. I'm pretty pumped about that. What else did I want to talk about? Oh, yeah. So, the weather. Ohio needs to quit. This whole 35 degrees after it was like 80 the other day needs to stop. Ain't time. We went hiking this weekend, which was really, really cool. Anyway, on a more positive note, right? I want to get into a little bit of a conversation about how we find ourselves in a situation that we know we need to get out of, and we don't necessarily know how to get out of it. A great deal of the time we find ourselves getting into relationships, jobs, business decisions that we find ourselves in that no longer serve us, work with us, and provide what we initially got into it for. A lot of times, I talked about in my last video, a lot of times how, if something's not serving you, if you're not getting, if you're not growing from it, it's hindering you and you need to get out of it. I got a lot of feedback about, well, how do I do this? Because, I've been at this job for X amount of years, or I've been with this person for X amount of years, and I don't want my time to have been wasted. I'm not telling you that you've wasted your time, because everything you've done has been for a reason, and it has served you up until recently, right? It's not like you wasted your time. You grew. You did. You grew from it, but you aren't getting enough from it now. getting out of things is rough. Getting out of jobs, not so rough. You can, always just go in, start applying, and you'll come across something. Like, a lot of people tell me, oh, it's hard to find a job. Yeah, I agree. It's hard to find work. It's not, like jobs are so plentiful that you can instantly grab one, right? However, I feel like at the same time, as long as you're applying yourself and you're, like, driven, you'll get another job. Pretty simple. And if that job isn't exactly what you want it to be, keep going, keep looking, keep going, keep searching until you find what you want. Life's too short to be sitting in a dead-end job. I've said that several times. I say that to myself even. All the time, actually. Relationships are more complicated. Relationships are more complicated because relationships are personal. It's a super hard thing to get out of a relationship that is no longer serving you, that you have time in on. Especially if you have kids. I've done it. It's a nightmare. I'm not gonna lie. It's a true nightmare to go through and deal with. But if it's not serving you anymore, you need to get out of it. You need to do it. So here's 2 things I say to you to start off on a journey if you want out of something. 1, you need to really pro and con it. I know that's like a typical thing, and a lot of people are like, pro and con a relationship, pro and con a job. Yeah, pro and con it. Because a lot of times we feed on our negativity a lot more than we feed on our positivity, and because of that, we will harp on negative and not see the positive. Same way with relationships, man. If you've been with the person for X amount of years, you've gotten into the habit of looking at them and looking at their bad tendencies more than you've looked at their good tendencies. The bad tendencies are what get on your nerves, and so the bad tendencies are what hold up here. The good tendencies are still there. It's just you don't pay attention to those as much because you're too caught up in all the bad. So 1, I would pro and con it. Sit down, write a list of pros, and write a list of cons. Just so you can see on paper in front of your face what that looks like. You'll be amazed. I promise you that. You'll be amazed. 2, probably the biggest thing, make sure you are talking things out with your significant other. And I know that that's a scary thing when things are on the rocks. But communication is key when it comes into a relationship. Communication is key when it comes to a job change. Some of you out there are single, I get that, so maybe you need to talk to a friend. Maybe you need to shoot these ideas to your parents. You need to shoot your ideas out to them. See what they think. Especially job changes when you're in a relationship. That's a major move. It not only affects you, it affects the person you're with, how life is going to work out, how life will function after the fact. Those are big things. Bigger part of talking to the other person if your relationship's in a bad place. A lot of times people go on autopilot. When things are bad, people go on autopilot, and the reason why is because they don't necessarily know how to deal with their problems, so they just don't. They leave them. Kind of like a video game that you can't beat. You get stuck in a spot, so you hit the save, and you quit the game. And you stay, and the game isn't going to change. It's not going to get easier. That spot that you're stuck at isn't going to magically become easier when you turn the game back on. So you just don't. You leave it as is. In relationships, it's the same way. Sometimes, man, you just got to hash it out. And I know that's scary to a lot of people. I'm very, very fortunate. I'm in a relationship right now to where I don't have that problem. She's amazing. We have a great line of communication, and that's probably the biggest reason why me and her don't seem to really struggle. Yeah, sure, we argue. We get in fights every now and again. Very, very seldom, but it happens. Because we disagree. We're different people. She's her person, I'm mine. It's just the way that works. But I will say, you will never figure out how to better serve your relationship or to better acquire a new job without talking first. I don't know, just my point of view. That's really it for right now. We're going to see what happens later on with my workout. Yeah. Man, I'm beat. I got some solid training in, which was nice. My arms are destroyed. My chest feels like it's on fire right now. Something I realize not everybody deals with, right? Something that a lot of people... My muscles are twitching like hell. Something I realize a lot of people don't deal with because a lot of people aren't in athletics. A lot of people don't necessarily work out or train or whatever. So I'm going to try to relate this to you guys, but sometimes when you're on the bench and you just feel like you're tired, like you're spent, right? It's the last set. You know, I always put my heaviest at in the last 2-3 sets, and the reason why is because the muscles are already exhausted, and I love pushing myself harder. But there's some times where I'm on the bench and I'm getting ready to lift, and maybe I should just drop a few weights off of this thing and kind of go easier. But then that competitive drive kicks in, right? And I'm like, nah, you know what? I'm going to kill this. I'm going to kill it. Because I run everything. But you got to have that same drive in everything you do. That's why I say it's super important to be passionate about what you're doing and have a why behind it, because it's really the only way you're going to be able to give it your all like that. I hope you guys can get that message and you can relate. I think I'm going to call it a night. I'm going to hit my protein shake and enjoying the rest of the evening with my missus. So I missed her. I haven't gotten to spend a whole lot of time with her today because training ate up a good chunk of my evening. Just remember, whatever you do, do it with passion. And if you can't do it with passion, you probably shouldn't be doing it. I guess that's really what I'm trying to get at. I hope you guys have a blessed day. I hope you guys stay safe. I love you guys. I'll get at you later.